All right. Hello, everyone. This is Noelle Cruz, Presidential Diamond with It Works Global. I'm so happy you guys are on our Tuesday afternoon Zoom morning for some of you who just rolled out of bed, Clara. I am really excited about today, and you guys, we're kind of going to get back to basics today, but I have a special guest on today who, I don't know, you know those people who, when you get around them, they just have that positive energy that you just feed off of and fills you up and calms you down. And anyway, I have many people like that in my life, and they are all in this business. Well, most of them are in this business, or they're my customers. And I have this beautiful lady, Laurel Grider. She's a double diamond, you guys, and she is going to come and speak to us today. And I am super, super excited for you guys to hear from her. So, Laurel, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I threw my hair up. It's wet still. I just got back from the barn. Noelle texted me earlier, and my very first aha moment for the day was, this feels like Saturday. And you know what? When you work your butt off for 2 years, every day can feel like Saturday. And so that was a huge aha moment today as I was just on my way to go take a riding lesson and just enjoy the beautiful weather as hot as it is. So, but I'm so honored that you would ask me to come and speak to your team. What a blessing.
Yes, and I know that I can see in the chat, they are all super, super excited that you're on here. They're all so excited to hear from you. So that's awesome. So Laurel, can you just tell us a little bit about your journey, where you're from, and how you got started in this business?
Yes. So I have been in this business for a little over 2 years now. I joined in April of 2014. So some of you may know Jeree Canellers, my best friend. I actually watched her for a year or so. We knew each other before she was even in the business. And my girls were babysitting for her. So naturally, between Facebook and seeing them at church, I just kind of watched. And I was super skeptical. I mean, all she did was post these before and afters over and over and over. There was always a different one. And I'd zoom in and just really study that thing. And I was so skeptical, like, how can that thing work? But at the same time, I was very curious. So after watching her for a while, and, you know, she would drip on me, hey, are you free next Saturday? Or, hey, would you be, you know, and I'm just like, no, that's not me. I'm not interested at all. You see my background, my husband and I were in full-time ministry. He was a children's pastor, and I was a worship pastor, oversaw the music department. And that was our calling in life. That's really all we ever saw ourselves doing, was ministry within the church. Never would I've ever considered anything outside of it, because I just knew that that's where we were supposed to be. So I just told her no politely. And let me just say, you can only tell her no for so long. I'm just saying. But so I started out as a customer, January 2014. That's when everybody wants to be a customer. You want to lose some weight. You want to tighten some areas up. So I started on the greens, and after a couple of weeks, I was amazed at my energy level. I didn't need that afternoon cup of coffee, and I loved how I felt. I had been having some pretty bad migraines, and they went away. Like, I stopped having migraines. And then I tried one wrap. I didn't see much, but I did pictures. I'm a rule follower. So I drank the water, I took my pictures, didn't see much. I did a second wrap. I saw a little bit, but I had to feel like I had to squint. And then that third wrap, I did my side by side, and I was like, okay, this works. Like, this is pretty amazing. So I just continued to watch Jeree. And here's the thing. About 4 months before I became a customer, I heard the Lord tell me, another stream of income. I just heard him speak that to me, and I was like, you know, in ministry, we have 4 daughters. They are now 23, 21. My third daughter is actually 20 today, is her birthday, and then my baby's 15. And my first grandbaby is due in November. So a couple of years ago, I was like, I knew that we could use a couple extra $100 a month, you know, and we were in ministry. It was a calling, and we felt like it was a noble calling, but you don't get rich in ministry. Like, you just don't. And we just didn't have a lot of extra. And I knew with these girls growing up, I'm like, we're going to have weddings and we just need to make some extra money. So I actually had begun to explore, I looked into a few of the other network marketing companies that I knew people in, but it works just kept coming around. And I can't tell you, and this, I want to encourage you all today, because as skeptical as I was, for 6 months, every once in a while, I would go to Jerry's website and pretend like I was signing up just to see what it felt like. So after I was a customer for a little while, so conference, January 2014, and here, everyone's posting about $10,000 diamond bonus if you go diamond in 3 months. And humble, meek, not proud me was like, I'm not going to be drawn by money. I am going to wait. I do not want to be lured by $10,000. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to work my butt off. So I waited. And March is when the bonuses were supposed to expire. She's showering. And so I'm like, I'm going to wait till the end of March. Okay, I'm noble, I'm not after money. So March 31st, April 1st rolls around, and it wasn't April Fool's Day. Mark extends the bonuses again. And I'm like, okay, Lord, all right. So I kind of like, all religious, put a fleece out. And I'm like, okay, if this is meant to be, Lord, then I'm going to make this decision this month. So that weekend I went to a women's conference where I led worship. And right after the very first worship set, this beautiful woman, she had a word of encouragement for me. And she said, Laurel, the Lord is forcing you out of your box. She didn't know. She didn't know what I was wrestling with. She's like, the Lord is forcing you out of your box. And it's been a good box. And he built it in part, but part of it you closed yourself into. And it's not going to make sense when you step into what you're stepping into. But once you do, you're going to see. And so I was like, okay. So I come home from this conference, and then I sit down with Chad and Jeree. And believe it or not, Lori Robbins was in town because that's the month she was pushing presidential. Mm-hmm. And we sat down with my pastor, her husband, Chad and Jeree, went over the party. It was so simple. Like, even then, they just pulled out some party pads, walked me through the party pad, and my pastor says, Laurel, this goes right along with your passion for health and wellness. I think this would be great for you. So I jumped in. And I'm like, I texted Jeree. I remember what I texted her. I said, okay, I'm ready to jump on this crazy rap train. So I jumped in, and I want you to know too, like, when you're starting out, yes, I am blessed to have had her as a mentor and as a best friend. But let me tell you, I did all the work. Like, I wasn't handed stuff. It wasn't, a free for all. Like, she was always there to answer a question, but I dug. Like, when I signed up, literally, I was through all my videos by the next day and in my back office, because I knew that's what I needed to do. Just give me a task. I'll do it. What's my first step for customers? All right, I'm going to go do that. Mm-hmm. And it took me about 9 or 10 days. I got my 4 customers in. And then I signed up 2 distributors. And it just kept going like that. And I went Ruby in 7 weeks. And I was ignorance on fire. I was super excited, but I was teachable and I was coachable, and I plugged in. I remember my very first event. I went to a Saturday, I think they called them Super Saturdays, and it was with Melody and Blair McFarlane and Chad and Jeree and the Tomatiches and Susan and Michael Wade. And here I am, like a little kid in the candy store, or, just wide-eyed and like, I don't know what all's going on, but Tina Hatcliffe got up there and she went through all these products, and Brooke did the party pad, and I'm just like taking notes. It was so amazing. And I'd barely been in like a week, 9 days. Maybe 3 weeks at the most. But it caused me to go, okay, there's something bigger here. And you know what? Why not me? I could do this. Why not? So I just ran. And I went Ruby in 7 weeks because I took advantage of my upline. Chad and Jeree. I got him on about 10 to 12 three-way calls with my potentials. I mean, I would be like, you know what, I'm brand new, but their number so-and-so in the company, they've made this much in bonuses, they can answer all your questions. Would you be willing to just get on a quick call? And you'd be surprised when you just stop being afraid to ask what can happen. So I got about 10 to 12 on the phone. I think 9 signed up. And I'm pretty sure I was on vacation when I went Ruby. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing. I signed up 16 customers in my first 6 weeks. And Chad was like, congrats, you promoted. And I'm like, I did. I had no clue what I was doing. There was no bonus back then. I didn't get nothing but my little certificate and my pin for going to Ruby. But so that was awesome. And then I went to Green Carpet, and oh my gosh. Now, guys, I understand, like, money, and when you're starting out and, like, you're struggling, you're like, I can barely run my auto ship, but I'll donate plasma. I have a yard sale. I would sell my favorite pair of shoes, like whatever it took to get to an event. That has sealed it for me. Just when you are in a room of people and you no longer feel alone in this, and you see people from every background, people that you can relate to, that you see their story and you're like, oh my gosh, that's just like me. And then you connect with them, and then you learn from, just one little nugget can change your business. I'll never forget watching Jade Hooper's Sealing Deal LC video. That changed my business. Mm-hmm. How I talked to people, how I followed up with them, and I gained confidence to where I was no longer timid. So fast forward, we've been in a little over 2 years. A little bit more of my story real quick. Is this okay, Noelle?
Yeah, you're doing awesome.
Okay. In December of 2015, at the end of December, our daughter had gotten married that first of that month, and It Works helped pay for that. So at the end of December, on the 30th of 2015, my husband, who had been the children's pastor, but he'd also been graphics, media arts, he's very artistic. We had a building campaign for the kids, and he had done all the creative videos and anything you saw on a screen or a piece of paper, he did it all. So he goes in for this meeting that it's supposed to be like end of year review, going to look into the next year, what we're going to be doing. And he was really feeling called to get back into like specifically ministering to the kids versus working on it. And he goes in, and the meeting lasts for 20 minutes. And they're like, we're sorry, champ, but we're having to make some business decisions, and tomorrow's your last day. And like that, our world was flipped upside down. Ministry is all we'd ever known. We had been with this church movement for 25 years. Our kids had grown up in this church. We actually started in Nashville, outside of Nashville and Brentwood, and then we'd moved to Clarksville when it was at a church plant, and had served there for 8.5 years. So at that point, I was barely maintaining Ruby. We had gotten a little slow. I was having to rebuild some rubies. It happens. You reroute, as Ashley Sinclair calls it. Mm-hmm. And coming right out of that, so immediately when that happened, I stepped down because I'm like, I'm going to stand by my husband. What else can I do? This is just not right. So 2 weeks later was conference, and it was our first big conference, and it was in Orlando. And, when your man takes a hit like that after nearly 25 years and you're just pouring your life into something, it was a super blow to him. And God's grace was on me to really help keep his head above water during that time. Because it's really hard on a husband that sees the provider. We've got 4 daughters, and now we don't have insurance, and now, a lot of stuff. But we went to conference just really broken. But we felt so loved just being around the It Works family. Like, never in a million years did I think that God would use a business to bring a new family into our life, but he has. And Chad and Jeree were just our rocks in that season. We had a lot of laughter thanks to them in a hard season. So we went to conference and opened up with a night of worship. honoring God, and just, I was like, is this for real? Like, is this really what this company is about? Like, I've never been a part of something like this before. And then the end of conference, Mark announces those bonuses, and they're double bonuses. And mind you, I had promoted to Ruby at the end of July. So at the end of my third month in, I promoted to Emerald, but I did maintain it. You know, I just got a little ahead of myself. Sorry, my phone dinged. So I was barely maintaining it, but I knew, like, you got to know when you're nowhere that this is what you're supposed to be doing, because otherwise you're just going to give up. Like, we had every reason to give up, but I got to another event and I knew that this was it. This was it for us. So I ran really hard. And at the end of February, the end of the very next month, I promoted to Diamond. I earned a $20,000 bonus. And when that paycheck came out, 3 months after that, God opened a door at another church, and they took us in and loved us, covered us, pastored us, gave us a place to heal, and even gave us a platform to serve again. And it was God. But so he started in March. Well, my first Diamond check came out in March, and almost to the penny, it was exactly what we needed for our bills, to cover everything we needed for our family. So God was faithful. He did it. Continued working all through 2015, and highs and lows, ups and downs. It's all about that. But my drive and my why was like, I'm bringing you home. I love Jesus, but I cuss a little, and I was just like, I'm going to retire your ass. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to retire your ass. And I just tell him, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do this, babe. And so here we are. It's 2016. I got him to Diamond in September. There wasn't a bonus, but I didn't maintain it. That's whatever, it happens. But I just kept on, and I kept going to events, and I kept getting on periscopes and trainings like this. You guys, I commend every single one of you for taking the time. Like, this proves that you're serious. This proves that you want this, that you are willing to take the time out to grow yourself, because that's one of the biggest keys to your success is being willing to grow yourself. Not just your paycheck, but yourself. And so in February this year, I promoted to double. I earned the $30,000 bonus. And my husband's mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And after they got through all the final tests and whatnot, it's stage 4. And it's actually moved into the bone. So my why changed again. And I'm like, babe, I've got to bring you home so you can go and be with her. And, it could be 4 to 6 years. I mean, we just don't know. But when you get a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, so I'm like, I'm bringing you home. So once I went double, and then we started seeing how that increased my paycheck, and we start running the numbers, we're like, you know what? I think we can do this. So at the end of May, he worked his last day, and he's been retired since then. And we've been traveling a lot this summer. We took a week vacation with family. We went on a 25-year anniversary cruise. We spent 8 days in Florida for green carpet. And he's actually with his mom right now up in Kentucky, taking care of her for a few days. So that's my story. I know that took a little while, but God is good.
Is anybody else crying? Because I'm like totally tearing up over here. I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to be crying because I'm supposed to be talking to you. Oh, Laurel, your story just gives me chills, like from the beginning to the end, just the way that God was faithful and he drew you into this business. And, everybody's crying. So it's not just me. It's not just my hormones, I suppose. But I'm so inspired by you, and I'm just so blessed by people like you in this business, because I feel like there are a lot of people who look at this from the outside and they think all those people are working because they want to have prettier things and bigger houses and faster cars. And, that is the case, like that we want to be able to put those pretty things on our dream board, and we want to be able to mark those things off of our list. But it's so much more than that. One of the things that I'm most excited about is we were at Green Carpet, I got to go into the Gives Back store and I got to sponsor a child. And I got to pay for that child's entire year care in one lump sum. You know, I could afford that $500 in one lump sum. And I wanted to do it for like 10 kids. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how many other kids could I do this for before my husband absolutely kills me, you know? But I wanted to do that. And I was able to do that because of this. And before, like thinking about that extra $39 a month would have been a stretch. I would have been like, okay, where's that money going to come from? What are we not going to pay for? What are we not going to buy? You know? And so, I mean, what you are a pastor, you are a pastor's wife, you are a shepherd, and you have that humble spirit. So what would you say, like, how do you bridge that gap for people that feel like, you know, people in this business are not necessarily in this for the good, but that maybe there's people on this Zoom who feel like they shouldn't be so focused on the money, or maybe that, you know, maybe that's something that's going to deter people from joining their team because they feel like they are too externally focused. Does that make sense?
Sure. No, I mean, every single one of us, I believe, comes into this because it's for us. Like, I came in because I needed an extra $300 to $500 a month. Like, I feel like every single one of us starts that for that reason. It's that hope of things no longer having to be the way they are, of it not having more month than money at the end of, you know, that's how I started. And I still, like, just because I've been in ministry and whatnot, doesn't mean I don't still struggle with that. I still struggle with, you know, okay, are we going to have enough this month? You know, we both drive like I drive a 11-year-old vehicle and my husband's is 15 years old. Yeah, I still want nice stuff. But I'm learning moderation and just, you know, be patient. The first thing was get him home. Now I have to redream again. And so in the redreaming, I got to you know, it's how can I add more value to others? But there's nothing wrong with wanting things for myself, for my family. I think in asking that question, if all of you are not aware of the colors and the color personalities, that's a test that I would take, markaceta.com. And it's something that I would learn, because you cannot talk to a person who's a red personality the same way you talk to a yellow. A red wants to know the bottom line. A red wants to know the compensation, how you make money. Okay, tell me what to do. I'm going to do it. A yellow is more cause driven. A yellow wants to know how they can help someone, you know? So I think when you know those things, then you can be, my sister said it really well, you can be a chameleon. Like you can meet them where they are. So once you kind of understand that, you know, it really, really helps. And that's where the personal development comes in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so good. I was just talking to some of my girls about that this morning. We were talking about how everybody needs, I feel like when you meet people, you have to be blue, because our excitement is what draws them in. And I have a really hard time being blue. I am so not blue. Hold on, I'm going to mute everybody up. Ooh, okay, let me unmute you.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
I'm naturally a really shy person. I'm kind of introverted. I'm happy just being around a few close friends. And, but you put me in a room of 30 people and tell me to go and meet them and get to know them. I mean, it mortifies me. Yeah.
Well, and that's where, like she said, we do have to become a chameleon, because you have to be able to relate with the person you're talking to. And I think it's funny that Stacy just said, would it be worth it to have the color personality test book as well? And so Stacy is obviously very, very green, because she wants to know everything about everything. And you guys, you don't need the book. You can get on the website and you can take the test and you can read the breakdown, and it'll take you 15 minutes and not 5 hours. So Stacy, you're awesome for being so green. I love it. I'm green too, but I'm more red. And so I'm like, I want to learn, but I don't have time to do that because I need to go do some tasks. So Laurel, you guys, I had originally put out that we were going to talk about getting back to basics and, focusing on your 100s lists and things like that today. And, as I was getting ready this morning, God really laid on my heart, let's have Laurel on the Zoom. And so I reached out to her and I was like, would there be any way you could be on the Zoom? And I had no idea why. And so, but I really feel like, we just needed to hear your story. And I love that. So, but one of the things that you mentioned was when you first started, like you had all your training videos done within 24 hours. And you guys, I'm not talking about the startup page training videos. I'm talking about your training videos in your back office, your It Works You training videos. There's about 3 hours worth of training videos back there. If you guys didn't know those were there, go watch them.
Yeah.
Log into your eSuite, go to the It Works You Training Academy and watch your videos and get those done. I mean, you can find 3 hours. You cannot pick up a magazine. You cannot turn on the TV. You can watch your training videos instead, and you're making yourself money. And Laurel, you said you just went out and you literally came back to Chad and Jeree and said, okay, what's my next task? Sign my 4 customers. Okay, done. Sign some distributors. Okay, done. So talk to me about, I feel like there's a lot of people that when they get started, they're at a standstill. They're like, okay, I know I need to go sign 4 customers. How do I do that? So how did you do that? How did you go sign 4 customers in your first week and a half?
I was thinking back about that. Well, immediately I started posting on Facebook. You know, I got crazy posting and I probably overposted, but still I was excited. And then, but at the same time, here's the thing, your friends really respect you. And so if you start something, you know, for me, I felt like it was like I started this and maybe they had been seeing it around, but they were skeptical. But then when they saw that I signed up, they were like, all right, Laurel, all right, now I want to know what this is about. And so I think it just opened the door for me to be able to start kind of reaching out. And I didn't go crazy like cold messaging people, but I talked about it everywhere I went. I got a shirt. I had my Blitz cards. I mean, I got my little, you know, it just, I never forget the first time I wore my shirt out in public to Kroger. I was so nervous because I'm like, I got my shirt on. And this lady at the checkout, she's like, what works? I was like, oh, and so I pulled out my Blitz card. I'm like, have you ever heard of this crazy rap thing? You know, I was just excited to share it with her. So posting, I was very, very, what's my word here? Consistent. I was consistent. Like, you know what, guys, I was voted most dependable in high school. Like if I'm going to do it, like I'm just loyal and I'm going to get stuff done and I'm going to be consistent. And even if it doesn't feel like I'm getting anywhere, I trust my mentors. I trust the process. I trust that it takes time. So a lot of people came to me, but a lot of it was me just reaching out to and like, hey, I need to sign up 4 customers. Would you be willing to help me out? You know, I just need someone that'll try 1 product a month for 3 months. I didn't have Jade Hooper at that point. I didn't call it the 90-day challenge. It was loyal customer. What's wrong with that? You know what? When I go back to the guy that I get my card done with, he calls me a loyal customer. Thank you for being a loyal customer because I'm loyal. So does that answer?
Yes. And, you know, I love that about the 90-day challenge versus loyal customer program, because if we call it a 90-day challenge, they're done after 3 months, right? But if we call them a loyal customer and we really teach them about the 3-month commitment and the free shipping and the perks points and, you know, all the different products that we have, and we continue to educate them on how they can bring these things into their home that they use on a daily basis anyway, then they really are an amazing loyal customer. And they're going to have hundreds of dollars worth of free product in their account over time. And so I love that. So how it like let's talk for just a second about your 100s list. Like when you first started, did you sit down and write down, did you create a 100s list?
Not in the very, very beginning. It took me a few weeks in before I really kind of got around the culture and heard, oh, you need to do your 100s list. Mm-hmm. So I think I started with my immediate market, my closest friends and family, you know, reaching out. I'll never forget the first girl that signed up. I was like, oh, I got my first customer. And it was just like so exhilarating. And I'm like, okay, I got to go get another one, you know, and, but once I started working through that list, like I honestly need to go back and redo my 100s list. Like I'm somewhat organized, but I feel sometimes like Ashley Sinclair, like I'm all over the place. So getting back to the basics is so key. I think if you get in a funk, then you maybe you got away from the basics.
Mm-hmm.
If you get in a funk, then you're probably not doing enough personal development, going to meetings, getting to local team one missions. Because I'll be honest with you, this business is not linear. Like it's not like this, it's like this. But our emotions cannot be like that. We have to be steadfast through that. We cannot be emotionally attached to other people's decisions. We're just out there to collect answers. Yes or no? No? Okay. They're not telling you no. They're not rejecting you. They're saying no to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our job to continue to just be excited, follow up periodically, and draw them to make them want to be a part of it. People should be coming in and going, I've been watching you for a year. And I had someone from another network marketing company actually who's in ministry, reach out to me yesterday because they saw my story of us recently announcing that we were able to retire Glendo. And so get out there. And if you're new on here and you don't feel like you have a story yet, just learn other people's stories. That's all I did.
Mm-hmm.
I just shared Chad and Jerie's story with as many people as would listen. And I'm like, would you like to get on a call? Because they can answer all your questions and show you how easy it is. There's 3 steps. That's how we make money.
Mm-hmm.
So hundreds list, chicken list. Let's talk about the chicken list. Let's talk about the people that you are afraid to reach out to. So I've been getting over that fear, and I reached out to one recently and I said, hey, friend, it's been a long time. And you know what? I got to admit something. You've been on my chicken list. But I figure at this point, what's the worst case? What's the worst thing that can happen? You just say no. But I just wanted to know if you'd ever considered this opportunity, if you'd ever be open to learning more about, making some extra money from home. That simple. Yes or no? I'm not attached to the decision, but I got it out there.
I think that's so important that you talked about not being attached to somebody else's answer. You're not attached to the outcome. You have to ask people. And I think that it's so important that we just ask people, will you take a look at my opportunity? Share your story, share a quick story. Like you said, you shared Chad and Jerie's story. When I first started, I shared Chad and Jerie's story. I didn't have a story. So I shared their story. And I think at the time they were double diamonds, or literally on the verge of going double. I think the month I signed, they went double, a week later. And, I just shared their story. And I was like, you know what? I started this business to make an extra $500 a month. And let me tell you about my friends who have done X, Y, and Z in the last 6 months. Would you like to talk to them? And they can answer any questions that you have. And it was so, so simple. But I think that, one of the things I learned right off the bat was to take people through an exposure process. And that made my distributor signing rate so high, because what I found is that when I talk to somebody, I find out that they're potentially interested in the business. Maybe I ask them to take a look at my opportunity, or maybe they message me and they say, Noelle, I've been watching you for a year. I got this the other day. Somebody's been watching me for 2 years. She just joined me. She's been watching me for 2 years. I had no idea. She wasn't on my radar whatsoever. But she's been watching me for 2 years, you guys. And that's because I'm consistent and because I show up when I don't feel like showing up.
Yeah.
On my really bad days where I could just sit in bed and cry because I've had a bazillion people tell me no, or stop talking to me, or I'm quitting your team, or I don't want your stinking products, or you're a bad mom, or any number of other things that I hear on a weekly basis, right? When I'm having those really, really bad days, I show up anyway.
Yep.
Show up because it's important.
Absolutely. 2 quick things. Someone asked about the videos. I've learned that you cannot watch them on a smartphone or a tablet. You have to be on a desktop for those videos to learn.
Be right back.
Also, the exposure process. Basically, on average, it takes 7 to 21 exposures for someone to make a decision. Every single one of you on this Zoom, I want you to think about how long did it take you to say yes? So we tend to give up on a person after the 2nd or 3rd time that we talk to them. if we understand that it is a process, the exposure process, just getting them different opportunities to learn more, a video. Chad even has some, I don't know if he's given one out yet that's not related to a BOGO, but just an opportunity call that you can send to someone for them to listen and find out if they're a 1, 2, or 3, do they want to join? Do they want to be a customer, or are they not interested? But getting people through that process and not giving up too soon, because you just never know. My sister was a customer for 8 months. I never, ever thought she would want to be a distributor. Like, I totally wrote her off. I prejudged. And she started commenting on a couple of my daughter's posts because they were on my team as well. And I'm like, hold up. So I called her. I'm like, what's going on? She goes, I don't know. I'm getting ready, and I'm just thinking I could do this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that girl went Ruby in 10 weeks, got a $1,000 Ruby bonus. The next month got her husband a $1,000 Ruby bonus. Like, she has been killing it. And I'm just like, and I prejudged her.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the exposure process for just a second, because we were talking the other night on our Diamond Zoom about three-way calls and just the importance of three-way calls. And so admittedly, I don't do this 100% of the time anymore. Until I went double diamond, I did this 100% of the time. And if you guys are taking notes, please, please, please write this down, because Laurel and I were both sharing how we have had massive success with getting our upline on three-way calls. And so until I went double diamond, I never signed a distributor without getting them on a three-way call first. One, because it brought more credibility to me as a coach and to our business as a whole, but it also teaches duplication. So what you want to do is, when you have somebody who's potentially interested in the business, whether they reach out to you or you reach out to them, all you're going to do is say, would you be interested in taking a look at this opportunity? Then you're going to send them a recorded call. I always send them Chad's opportunity call. He's done some new ones recently. The one that I have that I normally send is from about a year ago. Maybe he'll do a new one that's updated for us. That's not a BOGO call, but anyway, I send them a recorded call, and then I set up a time to follow up with them after they have for sure listened to that call. And what I do when I have that follow-up time is I make sure that I have somebody available.
I gotta do some work.
Muting everybody. Okay, there we go. Sorry, people keep popping in and it keeps unmuting everybody. What I do is I make sure that when I have that follow-up time, that I have somebody available for a three-way call when it's set to follow up with them. And then what I do is I get on the phone with them and I say, were you able to listen to the call? Great. What was your favorite thing about that call? And then I say, you know what? I really want you to be fully informed on this business and see if this would be a good fit for you and see if you would be a good fit for our family. So, and then I tell them about Chad or whoever I'm going to get him on the phone with. And I esteem him. And I say, Chad and Jeree are Ambassador Diamonds at the highest rank in our company. They're top 50 money earners. Chad's been my coach since the day that I started, and he's taught me how to be successful. And he really knows the ins and outs of this business. He's really, really busy, but you know what? Let me see if he's available to chat with you for a few minutes. And then they're like, okay. And they're all excited to get on the phone with him. And that's what you guys need to be doing. You need to be doing this with your Diamond upline or your Ruby upline or anybody, your sponsor, if they're active in the business. And this is such a simple process. And you know what that does? Is that takes your sign rate from a 20% rate where you have somebody, you're like, oh, I'm going to be signing somebody on Friday. Okay, well, did you get that person on a three-way call? Because if you do get that person on a three-way call, the chances that they're going to sign on Friday are going to go from 20 to 80%. It's a really, really drastic difference, you guys. And then what that's teaching them is that's teaching them duplication. Mm-hmm. So when they say, I don't really know how to sign distributors, then you can go back and say, well, what did I do for you? And they're going to say, well, you sent me this call with a little bit more information, and then you got me on a call with somebody else who gave me a little bit more information, and then I made my decision. Yes, that's exactly what you did. And it's so duplicatable. And so when you're able to take your team through that process, they're going to be able to repeat exactly what you just did. So Laurel, is that what you did when you first started?
Yeah. What I didn't realize in doing that was how much I was learning in the process. Just by being on these three-way calls with Chad and hearing how he spoke, hearing the specific things he said, every single time it was the exact same thing. It was the party pad, but he would tweak it based on how they were responding to questions, because he understood colors. He understood personalities and how to talk to a red person versus how to talk to a green. And so I learned so much by just listening through those calls with him. The beauty of a three-way call is that it takes all the pressure off of you to know everything. You can be 1 hour in the business and get a potential on a three-way call, and you're going to learn stuff. They're going to get informed and be able to make a decision. So it took all the pressure off of me. It brought in a third-party expert, and like Noelle just said, it validated me. I mean, Chad esteems me every single time I'm on a three-way call, and of course, it always feels good when someone else is talking good about you, right? But it was amazing, and it was duplicatable. Like, that's what I love about it. So if you've never done one, I challenge all of you to get someone on the phone with either your Diamond Leader, Mel, Noelle, whoever, because you're going to learn and you're going to up your percentage of signing new distributors. And it's still double fast start, double cruise points all week long.
Yep. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's so good. Okay, do you guys have any questions for Laurel? Laurel, I didn't want to keep you too long, but I know that everybody on here is just loving you. And you guys, I've posted the recorded opportunity call info in the team page before multiple times, and I will absolutely do that again for you, because it's something that you need to keep saved in your notes of your phone, because that's every time I have somebody ask for it, or I'm going to send it to somebody, I just go to my notes on my phone and I pull it up and I send it.
Oh, by the way, that one that Mel just posted, that one I think is specific to the BOGO. So I don't know if that one will
I'll
work.
post the one that is not specific to the BOGO before, on the team page, and I think it's reference number 87 is what I remember, but it might be 82. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah. So Laurel, thank you so much for sharing your story and just for giving us some tips on signing loyal customers right away. Chelsea Sneed, yes, absolutely. Yes, we'll send it to you in a private message. Send me a message so I don't forget, and I'll send that to you. But thank you so much just for sharing your story, and I hope you guys got tons of notes. I have so many notes. Melinda, you're on the team page, so I won't private message you because you're on my team page. But I'll post it, and then, yeah. So anyway, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to see you at conference. And you guys, if you didn't get what Laurel was saying about events, they really will change your business. Laurel said she would sell her favorite pair of shoes to get there. It's that important. Because it fills you up. You get around like-minded people, and you get around people that have the same passion and desire and vision as you, and the same people who have the same fears as you. Those people who are in that room and they're like, they don't think they can do it because they're not pretty enough, they're not skinny enough, they're not smart enough, whatever. And you see those same people on stage and you say, I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this, right? And it really takes your belief to a different level, and it allows you to move forward in this business. And you believing in yourself is more important than anything else.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Laurel. It was so good to have you on the call today. I'm so proud of all of you guys who hopped on this call today. Yeah. And I will be posting the recording so you can share it with your teams. So good. Okay, well, you guys have an awesome day. Thanks so much for your time, Laurel, and we will talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.